What's up, guys? We are back. This is The Real Deal with Casey and Jason, where we talk real life, real experiences, and occasionally a little bit about real estate. Guys, what is happening?
What's up, Case?
So we got some irons in the fire, so to speak. I guess we could say that, right?
Yeah.
Thought it would be a good episode. I was thinking today, after leaving my networking group, that's a group of people that in there, it's typically people who are self-employed, people who maybe are commission sales. It's mainly for business owners. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about in that group the conversations that we have and how those conversations are quite different from a lot of maybe other peer groups. So I thought it would be kind of cool to bring some of those conversations and some of the things that we talk about with starting this gym and different businesses that we have to everyone out there. And kind of what prompted it, somebody in the group, she's a commission salesperson. She does excellent at her job. She's the top salesperson for this company she works for. Does very well there. But she presented today, and part of her presentation, like the last 30 minutes, was her talking about her dream business. And she's like, I love what I do. I love helping people, with their homes. She works for a company that does roofing and renovations, things like that. She's like, I absolutely love that. But I want to she wants a coffee shop. She wants a mobile, basically like a, what do you call it? Food truck.
Yeah.
That does coffee.
Cool.
And so no one steal her idea if you're listening out there. But it was cool because you could kind of see her go from like presenting about her job and her product that she sells to her being extremely passionate about this food truck. And she had all these ideas, and they're like, her vision, you could just see, like, and her personality just really came out when she started talking about that. And it got me thinking, that's how we started talking about a gym.
Yeah, that's exactly how.
Very much started with like the vision of like, man, wouldn't it be cool if, and then like kind of had those ideas starting. And to be honest with you, that's one of my favorite parts about business, is that initial aspect of you're like envisioning what it could be. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times in the very beginning, we might see things through a lens, like before you have any of the issues that come along with it, you just see like the end result of like, man, that would be cool if we had this. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of want to go through, as we're going through the process now, and we are getting in the weeds with different things that is not the fun part, like we had envisioned about having a gym, but it's all the things that kind of lead up to that.
It's necessary, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if we shared our journey with that, so that people could kind of follow along, and maybe if someone's got an idea, something that they're excited about, passionate about, that they want to create a business out of, maybe they can kind of take this as a loose guide, I'll say, to move themselves in the direction of that. So with that being said, let's just, if you like, fill everyone in on if they haven't been listening along, on kind of like the gym and how that came to be, where that started.
Yeah, I think it probably started with the podcast, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought the podcast up, made that come to life, and then we kind of bounced around to a couple different locations, and we were like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we had, and we called it a headquarters, like, wouldn't it be cool if we had an HQ? Like, yep. I think everybody likes to say that.
Yeah.
That's how I refer to the Charlie's Brewery.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you at HQ today? And I say that with a couple other friends too. So that's where I feel like it was born. Like, man, if we had a spot where we could do this and like have people, if they were coming to do the podcast, we'd also have like a space for a community with them.
Yep.
And that was, we probably started talking about that in March, April of 23, which was only really 7 months ago.
Yeah.
And then it just happened to, I'm a member at the Village. You're in Middletown all the time with Master Networks and things like that, so you've got a lot of connections to that community. We had a meeting with Frank just to kind of learn more about his business, and lo and behold, you and me had a conversation briefly after that. Wouldn't it be cool if, like, I think he's going to sell it at some point. He's going to sell it, and I think he might think of us.
Yeah.
And then that's what happened. A few months later. So we really manifested it, but at the same time taking action toward it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess to anyone out there, if you have something on your mind, like I have friends that love to cook, and they're like, man, I should open a restaurant, or I should, have a food truck or something like that. Other friends that are into just, anything, right? Everybody's got their thing that really kind of lights them up, and they feel like they can contribute to the world in that way. Mm-hmm. If you have something like that, let that vision kind of run wild, I'll say. Like, let it kind of let it kind of get some legs under it. Start thinking about it more and start kind of really envisioning what it would be like if you had that thing that you're passionate about and it was part of your life, business, income, whatever.
I think it's helpful that we talked about it a lot too on the podcast. That was one of the themes that just came up all the time. Fitness with this, we had different guests on, and Jake and Mark and Megan, and obviously Steve and Charlie and all those folks,
and Dean.
Joe and Dean and Dean. I mean, it's like everything. While it's a personal development thing, we always found a way to tie it back to fitness. Often talking to a lot of people in fitness. So, with what you just said, being around people that share that same ideology, vision, goal, whatever, and being in those environments kind of breathes life into those things.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's I have a note written down here, like how to find your way into something. And I think talking about it, like we underestimate so much the power of just talking to other people. Mm-hmm. And like you said, when we were talking to these other people, and when you start putting things out there and saying like, hey, I would love to get into this, and you never know who you're talking to that might have a connection to someone who could generate this opportunity, and it will generate an opportunity if you do it. It's like if you keep that though all to yourself and you never talk to or tell anybody about it, no one knows you're looking for an opportunity in that space. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of a way that you take advantage of the people around you and the people you're having conversations with that leads to and lends those opportunities out.
Because people want to help people.
Yeah.
So if you put that stuff out there, I think that's why people like being parents so much. I don't have kids, but right, people love being parents so much because it's like that's your child and you are helping them grow, and you get lots of satisfaction from that. Mm-hmm. And that translates so well just into everyday life, where if you put something out there and somebody sees it as an opportunity to help you with it, there's a good chance that's going to make them feel good, so they're going to want to do it. Yeah.
So open your mouth is really the point of that too, is don't keep it quiet. If you have something, a dream, an ambition, talk about it.
Yeah, I forget where I just heard that about being a parent. I think it was Ben. Just watched one of his YouTube videos. Ben Patrick was talking about that, about like how being a parent is so important to him, because it's just another opportunity for him to help somebody that's super, super close to him. Obviously, it's his child. Yeah,
there's definitely no greater satisfaction than being able to help a family member, a kid, a child, something like that. So kind of taking this thing from the vision there and then talking about it with the right groups of people, that's important too. So when you're looking to start something, this is everywhere online, so we're not like, shattering the earth here with something new, but the people that are around you that you talk to and that you spend your time with are going to have a huge impact on you. We know that. So if you're talking to people that have never maybe done a business, started a business, or they've never really kind of stepped outside their comfort zone, if you go to them with this idea that you're like all excited about, you're probably going to get, you're going to get their perspective on it, but their perspective might not be pointing you in the direction that you want to go.
It's probably going to be resistance.
Yeah.
Oh, careful.
Yeah.
Like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?
Yep. And that's also people trying to help you in the most part. It might be a parent, it might be an uncle or whatever, and they're trying to protect you and keep you safe and make sure that you don't lose all your money or whatever. Mm-hmm. Their fear is they're going to kind of project it on you. So, make sure you're talking to people that you see maybe doing what you want to do, or like, I'm part of Master Networks. I was telling you a little bit about it before we started on air as well. But, it's a group of business owners. So when you go in there and you start talking about things like this, people know where you're coming from. They might be a step or two ahead of you. They can say, hey, here's what happened to me when I was at this stage. Here's the things you need to look out for. Here's how I've succeeded. And that's really the whole the collaboration and the collaborative effort of Master Networks. So if anybody out there, if you have a vision for a business, like come out and join that or come visit that. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. What is that?
I think that's the bridge shaking the ground.
Wow, guys, we just had an earthquake on air.
Yeah, something big just went over the bridge.
Could have been some farm equipment going over the bridge, or it could have been an earthquake. Bear with us here. So I think that's important too, is just making sure you're talking to the right people who are going to be supportive of what you're looking to do. Mm-hmm. Going from there, this is where it kind of gets, this is where we are, currently with the gym. This is where we get like into the weeds, so to speak. Yeah. This is this part that's really not all that enjoyable. It's kind of like the necessary evil of getting from, you have this vision of something awesome you want to create, but like now you have to like, you know, dot the I's, cross the T's, the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals of literally just getting the structure in place so that you can make it happen.
Well, and I think before even that, it's like recognizing an opportunity and taking action on an opportunity. Because once we start talking about all those things, the headquarters, we're putting all the people around us talking about fitness and stuff, we are like hypersensitive to those opportunities because it's permeated our subconscious mind. We talk about that all the time. So then we're like looking for that stuff all the time. And then the Frank thing happened. And we could have just been like, nah, we're not ready. I could have texted him back and been like, nah, man, sorry, just did this real estate thing. And
timing's not great.
Yeah. And he probably would have said thanks and moved on. So I think it's important that, you know, you got to have your ducks in a row to an extent. Mm-hmm. But when I called you and we were both like, yes, let's do it, we didn't have any idea how we were going to do it. We just knew we were going to do it.
Yeah.
So I think recognizing an opportunity and taking advantage of an opportunity, super important after kind of that like ideation phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge. And having that, I guess, the ability just to commit to something without knowing the outcome. We talked about that last week on the podcast, but having that commit first mentality of like, yep, that's the window open I was looking for, and then commit to it regardless of how you're going to get through. Yeah, I think that's huge. And you know, how many people run into that and have a story to tell years later, like, oh, I should have bought that one rental property. Or, I mean, I remember my dad talking about that property down at the beach, and I think it was in Rehoboth. He was like, going to buy a lot down there for like $1,500. And he's like, I had the cash in my pocket. And he's like, I just didn't do it. Like, we went out and drank that weekend or whatever. He's like in his 20s. And he literally talked about that until he died. I'm like, dude, you should have just bought the lot. Like, it's worth $1 million now. Like, you know, you could have been a millionaire. But that's a good point, is just being ready once you're kind of like, you have a vision, look for the opportunity, and then just be ready to commit to it and figure it out later. Which is where we bring you today in our journey, is the figuring it out later part. So, you know, I guess there's a couple different ways. You could start a business brand new, right? That's going to take some of the same steps. You can buy something that's already existing. You know, you can find them, you know, there's websites out there. Biz Buy Sell is one we've talked about on here before. You can talk to your network. You can talk to everyone you know and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a business in this space. But I guess some of the fundamental things that you need to do, and these are things that, you know, again, they're kind of easy and fundamental, but they're also things that if you've never done this before, it seems intimidating, like starting an LLC, right? Like that being one of them. So let's talk a little bit about that, like just basic things on forming an LLC and a couple options there. I mean, one, you can go online and literally create an LLC.
Like a LegalZoom or something like that. You can go online and form your own LLC in whatever jurisdiction you're in. And it's all kind of boilerplate legal stuff.
Yeah.
We decided to hire an attorney.
Yep. And all of our attorney friends are going to hate us for saying LegalZoom. But like, you need to have this done by a professional, which is what we did.
Yeah.
For everyone out there. But yes, so basically to have it, you know, what they draw up an operating agreement.
Yep. Articles of incorporation, operating agreement, you know, we'll take that information, you know, start a business checking account, things along those lines. We'll get our EIN number, all of that stuff in the TRD LLC name. But yeah, it was really, you know, that simple. When you hire your attorney and engage them, obviously find out what their rate's going to be, things along those lines. But they're going to ask you some simple questions and figure out what exactly the LLC is doing and how you want the operating agreement to look.
Yep. So the point out there is there's help out there, right? And you talk to a professional, just like when somebody comes to us for a mortgage or to buy a house. You don't have to know it all when you start engaging a professional. You just need to know that they're out there. Start talking to them, ask questions, and they're going to be willing to help you. They'll put all this stuff together. They'll usually pull the EIN number, which is your federal taxpayer ID number for the business. You know, they'll file the business and make it a formal entity with the state. So they do handle a lot of that stuff for you. So just know that you don't have to know, again, all of these things and exactly how they work. Just know that there's help out there.
Yep.
getting into the next fun part. So, and I'll touch real quick on this. So the LOI is a letter of intent for anyone out there. If you're purchasing a business, that's typically what's going to start like the negotiation process. It's a letter. It's not binding. It's just a, it's a written but not binding agreement between you and the seller saying what the basic terms of the transaction are going to be.
Yeah, that you intend to do whatever you say you're going to do.
Yep.
That's it.
And in general with them, the seller will usually kind of like stop marketing the business from what I've seen and heard. Now, again, they're not legally binded to do that, but typically once you're under that LOI and you're under some sort of agreement on basic terms, the seller will stop marketing the business and talking to other buyers. And then as a buyer, really your, kind of homework starts, which moves into the next thing. If you're going to need funding on the business, there's a lot of avenues out there. We're exploring some of them right now. One being the SBA, the Small Business Administration. There's other, commercial lenders. There's banks.
Credit unions.
Yep.
And it also depends on whether or not real estate's involved. We're finding that out.
Yeah. Pro tip here. If you get an opportunity to buy a business and there's real estate involved, it's going to be way more favorable for you as far as getting financing. Because everyone wants collateral. So we're in the real estate world, obviously we're very familiar with that. The collateral in the real estate world is your house. That's why lenders like myself, we have an appraiser go out. We make sure that the property is worth what you're paying for it. We make sure that it's in good shape. There's a clean title so it can be bought and sold. We're doing everything in our power to make sure that, God forbid, if that borrower doesn't pay and the bank has to foreclose, which is like worst case scenario for them, that they're able to take that collateral, the house, and they're able to recoup their investment. You're buying a business and doesn't have real estate, there a lot of times they want collateral. We're finding out. So, the IOUs and all the things that we can provide for them, a lot of times, they're still asking for things like collateral. Do you own houses? Is there equity in the houses that we could possibly, attach a lien to? Things like that. Yeah. So just something to keep in mind, I guess, for anyone out there, just a little bit about that process. But we've, again, there's a lot of options for lending. You just have to kind of do your homework, I think, and then explore some different options in that realm. Not much different than when you buy a house, making sure you're working with someone that's reputable, someone that, ideally local, that's going to take the time to hear you out, answer your questions, things like that. You want to talk about a business plan a little bit?
Sure.
Since we haven't done one of them yet.
Yeah.
But we need to.
Yeah, we're working with, like Casey said, a couple different avenues. But, especially if you're going to work with a government agency like the SBA or SBDC, who kind of works in conjunction with the SBA, this business, the Village, has been in existence for over 20 years, but they still want to know that the new owners coming in have a plan. So your business plan is going to outline your mission, your vision, your goals. They're going to want to see some financial projections, 3 to 5 year projections on what you expect the business to do. Anything that you are going to change that's going to impact those projections. And things along those lines, just to make sure that they feel good as far as the people who are purchasing the business having the foresight that they're going to run a solid organization.
Yeah, and part of the I think maybe fear going into different things for people is, well, I don't have any experience doing that. Like, I've never ran a business before. I don't have any management experience, or we've never been in the gym industry. We're really, you have your training business, but we've never ran a gym before.
Right.
Luckily, I have experience with managing people. You do as well. So we have business experience, but don't let the lack of experience as well kind of stop you.
Yeah, and even if you're an experienced business owner, a business plan is a great exercise to make sure that it's something that you can revisit. Down the line. It's something that can get you organized. So it's something I'm looking forward to. I know that maybe for some people it sounds scary, or they just don't want to do it. It kind of sounds like writing an essay in school, which I never wanted to do.
Yeah.
But this is something that's going to just further bring our business to life, on paper, at least. Yep.
Yeah, I think, and it kind of goes for me in conjunction, like as you're talking about projections, like, these are also your goals for the business. And, we've talked about goal setting before and how important that is, and how going through that exercise, which a lot of people don't do. And honestly, I need to get back to doing it more regularly. But I've done the goal setting where you sit down and like you do it when you're in a good frame of mind. You have time on your hands. You're not feeling rushed. You're not feeling like it's something you have to do, but it's something you truly want to do. And the power that comes through when you actually sit down and take the time to do that for goals, I think for the business plan as well, it'll be a great exercise for that. And then also something we can revisit so we can look, 3, 6, 9 months, and then, yearly, quarterly, whatever. We're going to want to revisit that and make sure that, hey, this is part of our plan. Like, are we moving towards that? Are we where we want to be? Are we falling behind? Are we ahead? What does that mean going forward? And then kind of tweak it from there. There's a really good book out there. It's been a while since I've read it, but it's called Vivid Vision by a guy named Cameron Herold, who he was like I forget what they call it, maybe like a fractional COO for companies, where companies would bring him in and he would help them get extremely clear.
Right.
He would help them with their vivid vision. And it was like this exercise, it would take, he recommended like even like a weekend, like go to a lake house for a weekend where there's no distractions and literally just outline this vision you have in such detail. And then he would just talk about how those things came to life for people once they actually took the time to do that versus, and we all fall into this trap from time to time, but like just getting through the day or getting through the task in front of you or just trying to check things off the list. It's like actually take the time to build out what you want to see. So I think that translates into the business plan. I'm looking forward to doing that. We're going to have to find some time here where we can sit down.
Yeah, I think what you just said, no distractions, is so important.
It's going to be hard, but we can do it.
Alex Hormozy talks about just having like a little clock on your desk and set it for an hour or two, whatever, and like put everything else away. And I find myself not having done that, but needing to do that because I sit here and I'm studying Ben on his YouTube videos. And it's like either my wrist is vibrating or my phone's vibrating, and I'm pausing the video, switching my frame of mind, and it's not conducive to productivity.
Yeah.
So I think the no distractions component to this, while it might be a little off track, is super important.
Yeah, absolutely. I find early in the morning tends to work good for me, or late at night, or a weekend when there's not, the day-to-day stuff of emails coming in and text messages and phone calls. When it's like, whenever that's not there, I find a good time to actually work on stuff like that. But, really, we're going to keep this one short today, but really the whole point of this is so that hopefully if someone is maybe thinking about doing a business or buying a business or getting into business, that you can kind of follow our journey along. We're going to share, guys, this is the real deal. So we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're going to share the experiences that we have with this. We're going to share the good, the bad, the things that we screw up on because it's inevitable. There's going to be some things that we maybe do and then we realize later like that was dumb. We should have done it another way. So we're going to share all that with you guys as we go. We're going to use our experience. Obviously, we're going to do the best we can with not screwing up, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and we want to be able to share that with everyone as well as the successes we have, and just try to provide like a little bit of support maybe for somebody else that's going through this as well.
I think that's exactly it. I love it.
Cool. With all that being said, please share with us, guys. We appreciate everyone listening in. I'm amazed still that every time we put an episode up, I get a call or text or a message from someone that's like, hey, you're talking to me. It's just, that keeps us going. That's really the validation that like, we just want to help people with this podcast. And that's part of the juice that keeps us going with this. But if you have a business that you're thinking about, like, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
And we could probably connect you with someone who might be able to help. We've made so many connections through the real estate stuff, through master networks, through our just communities, our other business partners, all these different people that we know now. So if you want to get into business, if you need to know someone, we probably have a connection we can help you out with. And if not, we know someone who does. Yeah,
like you started the show with, open your mouth, talk to somebody. Don't keep it inside, because it's far less likely to happen if you don't talk about it, you don't ask questions and things like that. So if you have an idea for something, reach out to one of us, reach out to your friends, family. I'm sure there is a connection out there that can help you. Yeah. And if you do keep it inside, we'll end on this. I think that's where people get the feeling of like they're not getting where they want to go. It's like, yeah, I'm going to work every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm making money. Yeah, I'm paying my bills. Yeah, I'm buying new cars, whatever. But if there's something inside that's really calling to you and you're not pursuing it, you're not thinking about it, you're not ideating about it, you're not talking to people about it, that's what's going to create this feeling of like, anxiety and
Yeah.
being stuck.
Yeah, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, there's somebody out there who needs the help from whatever you want to do.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, with this gym thing, it's like, how can we help more people? How can we help people become better, healthier? How can we use our experiences to help people? And it all comes back to helping people. That's why I love Ben Patrick so much. Just from what I know of him, he's just always trying to help people.
That's it.
And that really should be the foundation, I think, of your business plan, of your vision, is how are you helping people?
Yep.
So we'll leave you guys with that. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop us a line. And then, share this if you know anybody else that might be able to benefit from it.
Love it.
Peace out. See you guys.